In what is a great honor and recognition of the prowess of Indian business, Sunil Bharti Mittal, founder and chairman of Bharti Enterprises, has become the first Indian citizen to be conferred an honorary knighthood by Britain's monarch King Charles III for services to India-UK business relations. Now, this recognition is one of the highest honors given by a British monarch and underlines the growing might of Indian business and, of course, our corporate leaders. Now, in this mega exclusive, I'm joined straight from London by Mr. Sunil Bharti Mittal to talk about how important this is. Of course, the honor for him, for Indian business and for trade relations between India and the UK. Many, many congratulations, Mr. Mittal, or should I now refer to you as Sunil Bharti Mittal KBE, because that's what the honor means.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm truly delighted and, of course, humbled at this great honor bestowed by the British government, His Majesty the King, on an Indian who has been working for the last several years to strengthen the relationship between our two countries.
Yeah. You have been, doing business in the UK for a long time. You're part of the India-UK CEOs Forum as well. You have a listed entity there since 2019. And of course, you've helped revive OneWeb in a consortium with the UK government. Now, why UK? And how have they made it easier to do business? What does this mean as significance for the scale and prowess of India's business?
Well, UK has always been a natural choice for Indian businesses to set up businesses here. If you may go back in time, Tata's bought into the steel business here. The tea, Tetley Tea was bought over by Tata Tea. And of course, the Jaguar Land Rover, which is much celebrated here in the UK. And then we have had other business houses who have come in here from time to time. It's a place where many people have their offices. They regularly come here. And so it is only natural that we looked at UK for business opportunities. And I must say that the welcome from the British government, the authorities, has been delightful. I think it's pretty easy to set up business here in the UK. And talent is available in abundance. And those who regularly come in and out of UK can vouch for it. There's a good place to do business. In particular, I must say, in the last 5, 7, 8 years, India's position in UK has really gone up. Indian businesses are particularly cherished here. They are seen as good corporate citizens, people who are getting more and more employment here locally, bringing technology from India, of course, besides the money that they come and invest here. So I think this is an award which recognizes India's rise in the global stakes in the business arena, and importantly, recognizes that those who work for India and UK's stepped-up relationship need to be awarded.
Would this be the right way to also look at it, Mr. Mittal? And our viewers would be very interested in this angle, that when businesses need to be rescued, then Indian business leaders step up. And we've seen that time and again with UK businesses. We provide jobs there, we provide employment, and we save some of their businesses, like we saw with OneWeb.
It's true. I mean, we saw that in GLR, we saw that in the steel, the Tata Chorus. We saw that in the refinery in Stanlow, which Ruhias have set up and taken over. So yes, there are lots of good cases. I think Indians move fast. They are entrepreneurial in their very nature, unlike many European or American conglomerates who will take a lot of time. And some of these businesses need very quick and fast decisions. OneWeb, for example, was requiring a decision within days. A bid had to be assembled. Somebody had to lead the charge. The British government invited me right in the middle of the pandemic. And the bid was made during that time, and successfully the company was taken out of Chapter 11. A full satellite constellation of 640 satellites has been set up with a lot of investment and efforts right here from the UK, covering the entire globe. This is, to my mind, one of the sterling examples of India-UK cooperation.
Yeah. We have a wide audience this evening, Mr. Mittal, watching you across our channels on the network, which is why I'm going to request you to explain to us the significance of a OneWeb, especially in the context of a Starlink, which is the big behemoth. Why is this such a big deal and at the cutting edge of communications and space technology today?
Well, as you know, space is now getting a lot of focus and attention from all major global players. Thankfully, India is one of the major space actors in the world. In fact, when I was invited to the Downing Street to take OneWeb out of Chapter 11, the then Prime Minister Boris Johnson made a remark that India is truly a first-rate space nation. And, we do our own launches. India manufactures its own satellites. We are now planning to send astronauts to the moon. I mean, so much is happening. I heard our Honorable Prime Minister talk about India having its own space station by 2032. And what we did with the lunar landing just a few months back was a historic achievement and the lowest cost by any nation in the world. So India has something very special. And I think OneWeb, from that point of view, is an India-led British partnered consortium, which, by the way, also has now the French government as a participant. It covers the entire globe. My industry, mobile industry, has not been able to cover the last 2.5 billion people on the internet. There are lots of dark areas, deserts, mountains, forests, oceans, in the skies. There are lots of places where you don't get connectivity. And what a LEO constellation does is precisely that. You can raise your hand anywhere in the world and you can be connected. It is the power of a LEO constellation. Starlink is a formidable competitor. In fact, they have a lead. They are ahead in the race. They have put in many more satellites and they have a large market presence already. Our model is very different from theirs. We are serving the governments, the defense forces, the industrial applications for mining and warehouses and manufacturing units in remote areas. We serve the maritime industry, the aviation industry, oil rigs, etc. So we will have our own business model where we will go and provide broadband connectivity, something that I have worked on for, I think, now over 2.5 decades. Yes. Telecom, as you know, has been my area of interest, and this just expands the area of broadband connectivity, especially of those people who have been left behind of not getting internet.
Absolutely. It's all about connectivity. Just to, points to understand, Mr. Mittal, how many jobs did you save when you rescued OneWeb from Chapter 11? And
well, I would say,
how much did you save the UK government? Yes, sir.
Hundreds of jobs are saved. OneWeb has its headquarters here in London, and obviously this company would have gone down if a rescue package would not have been put together. Yeah. We raised about $2.85 billion, in which British government also put in $500 million. We got the French investment, we got the Korean investment, we got the Japanese investment, and of course the India's investment was the largest, and Bharti being the single largest shareholder. Yeah.
Now you've explained how OneWeb can really connect the world. I want to understand the Indian context because the regulations have come in. As I understand it now, we're awaiting allocation of spectrum from the DoT. What kind of timeline can we look at for a rollout of OneWeb, and how would that change lives here?
Well, I think for India, this is really very special. India took the bold decision of not falling into the trap of getting into spectrum debates where they should be auctioned or given administratively. This is a shared spectrum, as we all know. It's going to be used by any and everyone. Whoever wants to use the same spectrum is used. There is no specific, proprietary assignment of spectrum, unlike mobile phones. So that decision is done. The second part was FDI. India has allowed up to 74% automatic FDI for SATCOM. Our ground station is ready in Mehsana in Gujarat. We are just now awaiting allocation of spectrum to start our work. I hope the government can take the next step of assigning the spectrum so that services can be launched at the fastest possible time frame, especially start serving the remote areas up in the upper regions of Himalayas, deep in the Rajasthan deserts and many other places.
So apart from increasing connectivity in remote areas, would this also make it cheaper and more accessible to the average Indian?
Well, satellite, phones are generally considered to be expensive, but thankfully with the LEO constellation, the pricing has really come down dramatically. You will have community Wi-Fi, you drop in a terminal in a village, and you can have, let's say, 50, 100 dwellings connected to it, so thereby making the price become even more affordable. Yeah. We will be fairly close to the terrestrial pricing. Of course, satellite will always have a premium. We are also talking to the government how USO funds can be directed towards these rural efforts of the SATCOM providers.
Yeah, it could totally be a game changer. So I just wanted your thoughts on the UK-India partnership, because in a sense, of course, this is an honor today for you and your contributions, no taking away from that, but it also cements the India-UK trade partnership. And the next big milestone that everyone's waiting for is the FTA. I wanted to know your thoughts on that. What is the hurdle for the free trade agreement? Do you think that those could be ironed out soon, especially in a year which is an election year on both sides?
Well, FTA discussions are always tough, at times contentious. But I think from what I have been watching from close quarters, a lot of progress has been made. Both sides have had to give in. Both sides had to stick to some of the very important areas they wanted to preserve. And I think we are very close to an FTA, but it's never done until it's done. I must compliment Minister Piyush Goyal and his entire team who have been negotiating with the British counterparts, and equally to the team here led by Minister Kemi Bedendorf, who's Mr. Goyal's counterpart, and her team, our negotiating team. I've been meeting them regularly. I've met the British teams a few times. I've met the Indian side several times. And I must say, there's tremendous amount of goodwill now. And I know Honorable Prime Minister would like to see this happen. There will be now political compulsions which should delay the process. Indian elections are around the corner. Then the British elections are later in the year sometime. Will there be a window post May or between May and June, July when something can be done? Let's see. From my corner, I will try whatever I can to ensure that the Indian industry gets the best benefit from this FTA, and equally is fair to both sides.
Yeah, we were talking about it maybe last Diwali, who knows, perhaps by this Diwali it could be inked. When you say it should be a win-win, and especially for Indian business, what would be the biggest plus from the Indian perspective of an FTA?
I think one of the issues that have been stuck for a while is the issue of Indians who work here on a temporary basis. They contribute towards the social security packages, whether it's NHS or it is the pension schemes. And when they go back, that money is lost. And they don't end up using any of those services here in the UK because they've gone back for good. And that's one negotiation which I know has been going on. This is always a difficult issue to resolve. Other issues have been around certificate of origin or rules of origin, which have also made a tremendous amount of progress. UK's need has always been on Scotch whisky, on electrical vehicles, on biotechnology, and India's need has been on free movement of people and getting the right amount of access to the British market. So, as I said, there were chapters and chapters which had to be negotiated. A lot has been achieved, and a few issues are remaining. I really hope that we come out with a very strong outcome of this FTA. One thing we must make a note of is that India today is in a very different position than it was several years back when it did some FTAs with Southeast Asian nations and some other counterparties. Today, India is very strong. It's a market of 1.5 billion hungry, consuming people who want to use more products and services. It's a market that the British industry cannot miss. It's a must-have market. So I would say India will need to be getting very attractive terms for it to be signing on this FTA.
Well, that's a superb takeaway. Maybe we're in the best bargaining position or negotiation position than we've been for the longest time. You've given me a lot of time, Mr. Mittal. I want to thank you for that. But Before I let you go, I just want to get your take on, where you see the Indian telecom sector heading. It's grown by leaps and bounds. It's faced its challenges. It's connected this country like never before. A lot of developments recently, and the question about, whether these businesses now can thrive, whether customers are paying what they should. I just wanted to get your sense on an outlook for the Indian telecom industry.
Well, I have mentioned this many times before. Telecom is a very, very capital-intensive industry. My company alone has spent 40,000 crores on 5G spectrum and an equal amount on rolling out the network, and still more needs to be done. One of our competitors has spent 80,000 crores on spectrum and about 60,000 crores on the network. So this is a serious investment business, and it's a serious infrastructure that carries India's real flow of economy. Be that UPI, be that Aadhaar, be that all the financial services, health services, government services. This is truly now a remarkable infrastructure that has been built in India. And the problem here is that it doesn't stop. You don't build a refinery or a steel plant or a fertilizer plant and then stop. You just need to continuously invest, innovate, invent, and that takes billions of dollars, tens of thousands of crores of rupees. Tariffs, therefore, needs to be suitable to give rewards back to the shareholders. There should be a decent return on capital, and that, to my mind, has been woefully short of what is the right level of returns. I have always said we need to get to 300 rupees ARPU. We are at 200 rupees now, still some way to go. And when I said 300, the cost inputs are much lower after 7 or 8 years of inflation and the rupee depreciation against dollar. That 300 rupees also looks less now, but at least let's get to 300 rupees. And to my mind, that will still be the lowest tariff anywhere in the world. We need first-rate networks. We need high-quality services. We need more fiber into home. We need more submarine cables. We need more satellite. A lot needs to be done. And whether it's Facebook or Instagram or it's Google search or it's all the fanciful new AI applications are all going to ride on 5G networks. And therefore, it's important that the customers recognize that this infrastructure requires investment, and they should contribute happily a few more rupees per month to use this network.
Absolutely. Do you see that happening anytime soon, given the current conditions?
Well, I think so. I mean, all of us need it. At some point in time, this should happen. Now, when will that happen is always hard to say. We are always willing to take the lead. We have taken lead in some of the packs. And as the market gives us a signal that we can probably do a little bit more, we will do so and not shy away. Because in the end, balance sheets need to be healthy. India's digital dream rides on these few networks, and they need to be robust.
Undoubtedly, undoubtedly. Thank you so much for speaking with us exclusively, Mr. Mittal. Many, many congratulations once again. Today, of course, this is an honor for you, but all of Indian business as well. Thank you.